Are Dollar Tree projects the best type of projects? I think so. Today, join me while I show you how to make these adorable stamps using Dollar Tree products. If you want to learn how, then stay tuned. And if you're not already subscribed, this is a great time for you to pause and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you like the video, give me a like. I really appreciate it. You can make your very own stamps using Dollar Tree erasers and an X-Acto knife. Now, I know that you can pick up X-Acto knives at Dollar Tree, but I already had one, and so I'm just going to use this one. I have smaller ones, but I couldn't remember the ones from Dollar Tree, so I wanted to use a bigger one just in case this is all you could get your hands on. Now, you can use, and I have another video, I'll have it linked down below, of how to carve stamps using like the rollerball tool specifically made for making stamps. But I wanted to give you an option to make some stamps with tools that you already probably have or that you can get very cheaply. So I'm going to start off, we're going to open the only other things that you're going to need are a pen or pencil and then your imagination. So we're going to be making very simple designs today just to keep it easy. And so what we're going to do first is we are going to draw out our image. So I'm just going to make a leaf pattern because that's pretty simple. It's easy, and I think that is a sweet pattern to have on any journal page. And so I'm just going to draw it out like this. Maybe do another one here. Pull it down. I do want the stem to be somewhat thick. Let's add, maybe we'll add another one here. Okay. What I want you to know is anything that is dark, that is what will not get carved out, and that's what is going to absorb your ink or your paint or whatever it is, and when you stamp, that's what will stamp. So that will be the image that's stamped. So be very careful with these. Obviously, you know, don't go at yourself, cut away. So what I like to do is I'm going to go in to the very edge right here, and I might make these a little thicker just because I you know, to make it easier to cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the edge, and just very carefully I'm piercing the eraser, and I'm going to very slowly, I'm going to pull down on it. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing around the edge here. You want to be very careful. And just so you know, my arms are completely extended out, so I'm nowhere close to my body. So now I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to lay it at a probably 45-degree angle. And I'm going to start kind of wedging out some of the pieces. It doesn't need to be in one piece. Oh, and if you want to protect your surface, you can definitely put a self-healing mat down. Some of this will just peel off. So you're already getting started. You just don't want to go any further than that line you set for yourself. And actually, I think what we're going to do is I'm actually going to cut all the way through the eraser. So I am going to grab a mat if I can find it. I think that'll be easier. Okay, so we're going back here. You can see I've already gone a little bit through there. So I'm just going to come down, and there we go. So the same thing. And I'm using my lines as a guide, but it's definitely not make or break. If I end up going a little into them or not as close to them, I'm okay with that. Just gonna push the excess away. So I'm gonna start here, and I'm going in, I'm stabbing it pretty good in there, trying to get to the bottom, which I did. These erasers, they're actually really great because they're super easy to carve into. The only thing you just have to keep in mind is to keep it very slow. Do not rush this project. If you are someone that rushes with a lot of projects, maybe don't do this one. Or just tell yourself to slow down. I'm going to, just for this video, I'm going to ignore this leaf, and I'm going to come up. So we've got this so far. We can actually leave this to the side. Maybe we'll work with that one. So you can see here, I cut in closer to my leaf pattern than I did here. Here I left a little bit of space. Here it's kind of butt up against it, and that's okay. Remember I said your drawings are just a reference. We're already getting somewhere. So I am going to, once your eraser starts getting smaller, then it's definitely going to be a little more, a little harder to work with. And so you're going to want to be very, very careful here. So I am putting my finger down here, but I am going to try to move it out of the way whenever I can, or as soon as I can. So I actually really like this pattern that this made. So I'm gonna just grab my scissors and just cut that apart. And I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna grab just an ink pad. And I just have a little scrap piece of paper here. And I'm going to grab my ink pad. I'm going to press down on it, and you're going to see all of everything that's there is what's going to get stamped. So now I can see here by looking at my drawing that maybe I want to smooth this out a little bit. Maybe I definitely want the stem to be a little bit more dainty, so I'm going to cut some of it off. Remember, your stamp is opposite. So this is this side and this is this side. So if I'm looking at cutting some of this off, it would be right here. So we're going to start with that. And the way that it's sitting right now, it's kind of looking like a fin. There we go. I think that's better. And you can keep checking your stamp. Oops. As you're working on it, feel free to okay, that looks much better. And now here, Okay, I think that's good. That's good. Let's go ahead and trim off from the edge. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go on this side. So again, very, very, very careful with your nails and your fingers. And I'm just going to cut that little sliver off. Now, two things: the thinner you make this, the more flimsy the stamp will be to work with. And it's not really getting that little piece, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. My paper. And I think it might be easier to work with a scissor. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's check it and see what we have so far. And that is really cute. So imagine that. I'm just gonna grab one of these little circles that I've made before, and I'm gonna grab another sheet of, let's actually get some book page. I grab a different circle that has a little less writing on it. And we are going to just cut a little piece. I'm just going to pretend we're making a cluster. So, and I keep not getting that corner. So I'm going to, there we go. And that's still a little thick for me on the bottom, so I'm gonna cut a little more off. This time I'm gonna go in on this side. I find that it's easier to work with it on the left side, so I'm gonna turn it. I'm gonna carefully put my fingers right here. And in this case, because I'm getting so close and I don't want to slip the knife, I'm actually just like stabbing into it. So I'm going down, moving over, going down, moving over until I get to the edge. And then I can go in and get all of this little excess off. Okay, so let's try that again. Let's just go in the back of here. So now this little stem became very flimsy because of the way that I cut it. So when I'm putting it down, I want to make sure to put it down, and I'm going to press from on the bottom as well as the top of my leaves to make sure that it's getting a good impression. And look how adorable that is. So now you can see a little stamp cluster. And this can also be really cute if you put it at the bottom of your journal, like for a page. So if I had my little journal here, if I added one down here, can also cut this out. And add it down here. So super cute. Let's go ahead and make another one. Now, the normal way of, well, not the normal way, but the way that I learned how to do stamp cutting, or I don't even know. I learned actually in school. I believe they're called lino cuttings, and you actually don't cut through, so you don't make this flimsy bottom. Instead, you cut into it, which is kind of what I was starting to do at the beginning. But I think that especially for a beginner, this is the way to go, even if it's a flimsy edge. Okay, so let's try making a circle. This is going to be a little harder. So we're going to come down, and then let's do a leaf like this. So remember, if I'm coloring this in, this is what's going to stamp on my page. So we're just going to do it the exact same way. I'm going to come in on the edge. I find that working on the edge is the easiest because you're already, like, there's nothing here. And so I'm just going to pull down. I kind of look at this like fussy cutting, you know, when you're fussy cutting, how you are you're moving the paper to do the work, and then you barely push down on the scissors to cut. I'm kind of doing the same thing, and I'm moving the eraser out of the way of the knife. So again, I think it's easier to work on my right hand side, probably because I'm right-handed, and I'm going to start here at the edge, and again, very carefully, I'm going to pull up till I get right here. Now our circle, I'm going to cut this at an angle because I'm going to get rid of this excess before I keep going, just to make it easier so I can see where I'm at. With the circle, don't expect, or I don't expect, a perfect circle. I expect that it's going to be wonky, and that's okay, and that's what's cute about this. That's another thing I do when I'm fussy cutting, is I usually discard all of the excess. So that's what we're doing here. Now here I'm going to go ahead and go into the sleeve, so I'm going to stab this down and then pull. So on that little piece, it kind of was, it's too small of an area for me to try to get rid of that edge. So that's where I went in and kind of went at a diagonal and just removed the top layer of it. So I'm going to go back here and pull. My biggest tip is wherever you feel a resistance and you feel that the X-Acto knife, like you're tugging at it, stop, because that means you're if you're, you know, think about a rubber band. If two people are holding it, if it snaps, it's going to hurt you. So the same thing, if you're pulling on this and then it comes back at you, you want to avoid that. So I actually really like the shape that we have so far. So I'm going to go in and check it. I'm just going to use this since it's right here. These are a lot of fun to make, and once you get started, you're going to see that your imagination is going to run wild. You're going to think of different designs that you can do, and I think that this is a really cute project. So I like that, except right here, this goes down like this. I just didn't get ink on it. And I actually like it where it didn't have that. So I'm going to try to remove some of that. Now I'm working with a very small space here. So again, very carefully, I'm going to go in. There we go. And you see it's just a tiny bit, but I think it's going to give us a good outcome. Oh, and I like that a lot. Okay, what I'm seeing is my little ball. Here it's rounded, here it's flat. So I could leave it as is, or I think I'm going to flatten this piece out a little bit, even though I like it to be more rounded, but I can't add to it. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in and we're just going to remove a sliver. I should have showed you. That's all we took off. Okay, so now I changed the stamp. And I think I like that better. You might have liked that one better, so that's okay. What I do find is at the top, it is, I'm gonna kind of saw off. So look at, this is literally a sliver. So I'm just taking the edge of my X-Acto knife, I'm on an angle, and I'm just cutting the top layer because the bottom doesn't really matter. This is what's giving me my stamp. And I'm gonna go around. And I'm gonna show you the difference. I'm gonna put it right next to it. And you can see the difference in the shape, and that made it more teardrop shape. Let's put it here. As opposed to that one, which was a little more clunky. I still am getting a little bit right here that I'd like to take off. So again, very minimal. Look at that little bit. And let's stamp. Okay, so now that I've been working on it, I'm going to take off some of this leaf. So I want to take off from this side, which means I'm actually going to take off from this side. So I'm going to start at the top and just take that piece off. I feel like here this was too high and it was too close to the ball. And that is much better. And now this could even make a little bouquet already. And you can get as dainty as you want. I just wanted to show you a couple of designs that you can make fairly easily. Look how cute that is. And then stagger it. Look at how adorable that is. And then we can make more that are like little twigs and add in between, and you can stamp yourself a little bouquet. I hope that you enjoyed this project. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'd love to hear your comments of what you think if you're going to try this out. This is a fun project that you can just keep learning and getting more into it. And as you do, you can buy better supplies if you want, and you can learn more about doing the other cutting with the rollerball tools. But I think this is a really fun project to do. And again, thank you so much for being here, for spending your time with me, for all of your love and support. It means the absolute world to me, and I thank you so much. And just in case you have not been told this today, you are so special. You're wonderful. You are perfect. And I love you. Until next time, bye.